about 2020, I realized about 15, 20 minutes ago, though, is that I think this is only like the third time in 2021 that we had to speak about Trump, that we brought up his name at all.
Barely
That is
did.
a refreshing change from
Well,
2020 for
I
sure.
was gonna jump ship on that. Like now, what we're talking, like 2021 gave us an election, gave us a Canadian election,
Yep. Yeah.
and uh, it the results weren't what the Liberals wanted for sure. But what did you guys like? What did we take out of the elections? Hillary, you were very vocal, so go ahead.
I got my pencil. I got my pencil because it was a COVID election and Justin Trudeau gave me a pencil. He gave me nothing else. That's not true. He showed us that in times of distress, people will vote for People's Party of Canada and members of the Seaman Retention Party if they say that there will be no mask mandate, because that is what Atlantic Canada did, and that is very sad. It did give more NDP seats. I don't know what else it did. Nothing else seemed to change. But that's how I felt about that election. I think that childcare is now finally going to be $10 a day. I saw this week something like that.
Well,
And good for all the people with the children.
New Brunswick. Wait. In New Brunswick, there's a problem, but we'll go. But it's
That's
Great.
interesting.
Anyway, that's how I feel. Like some people really showed their ass that they vote for the most prevalent issue at the time, which was COVID specific, and that's why they voted, I think, PPC. Some things changed, not much really changed, and I
Also racism.
well, yes, racism. If you were voting PPC, it was either you don't want masks or you're racist or both. And situ.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. That's how I feel.
What about you, Clinton? What was your takeaway about this?
Nothing. It was ridiculous. It just reinforced something Hillary said a few minutes ago, that people in power will take advantage of their power and themselves and their own desire to get more power over the common interests of the citizens they're embodied to protect, that they're sworn to protect and help. I don't know that COVID, the media like to make the narrative that, you know, if you have an election, it's going to make a crazy spread of COVID. I don't think that happened in any of the elections, but it just wasn't, I just wasn't necessary. It was a lot of bull. And I'm glad that the Liberals got, I don't know if they got, well, I'm not a political analysis. I feel like they got a little bit weaker, but I'm just glad that, I don't know, the election was bullshit.
Well, the Conservatives got. I think I will say that I think the Conservatives got a little bit weaker than the Liberals for sure, because they have not. Again, if you look at provincial wise, the Conservative government is
I meant
it's
nationally, but you're right.
yeah, it's a bit of a couple, and I mean, especially like right now, Aaron O'Toole is fighting for his life to stay where he's at. I don't necessarily think he's gonna get it. What I will say is this: I will say I'll commend Justin Trudeau because he has given Black people some money. Uh, say what you say. This is a Black podcast. He gave Black people some money. Amazing. I will definitely congratulate him for that.
Money and a pencil.
Again, it whatever, get money, pencils, t-shirts, whatever. But he did good programs for the Black community. Is it enough? Of course not, but it's a start. Definitely, I can definitely say that I can give that props to him. I will also give him props on the CRB. That was a very good program. You can say what you want to say. Some people took advantage of it, like they all do all the time, but that's normal. He definitely did a job for that. What I will not do is say that he thought he had a slam dunk with this election, and that was not the case. He definitely timed it super wrong. He shouldn't have done that. That hurt his popularity. And again, that's definitely something that that I take for this election, is that you can't believe everything you hear. And I think he heard, oh, I'm lovable, and he definitely get that. And also I will say that it was the worst timing, and I will not say this just for not just for the federal, because we had our election in 2020, which was a total power grab by Blaine Higgs, and look at the results of it. It's a total shit show. And he has no, we can't do shit now because he has a quote unquote majority. and we are dealing with a virus. Same thing happened in Winnipeg. Same thing happened in different places. So not necessarily provincial elections were bullshit too. Uh, I just think that basically you got to take politicians for what they are, politicians, and not necessarily that they're getting your best interest. Go ahead, Hillary.
I didn't want to cut you off. I just didn't want to forget to say rest in politics, Anime Paul. And we'd still like to have you on the show, but we're really sorry
yes.
about 2021 for you. Sorry.
Just come when you get your book, because that's the only way. You got to spill that tea, because I mean that shit was crazy.
Well, you don't need to release a book to come on the show, but if you did, that'd be cool.
I
We'd
mean,
love to have Anime Paul. Fidel, why don't you go over quick? We had a crazy amount of like famous politicians on the show this year. Before we finish talking about politics, and we're not bragging, but we had some cool ass guests.
well, yeah, we had Matthew Green, we had Selena Cesar Chavez. We definitely, who else we had? I think we had those two.
We had Jean Augustine.
Gene Agostine.
yeah.
We had Gene Agostine for sure. But coming that, like, we definitely had the politician. We wanted to have Anna Paul and Leslie Lewis. Hopefully, we'll go for them next year. Anna Paul was the craziest case for a Black person in politics for sure. Shout out to the Green Party that now you're titleless racist as well, like the other parties. Yay! but yeah, we definitely had some good politicians, and hopefully we'll have more next year. I definitely think that Black people in politics in Canada is definitely something that we all need to be concerned about, because I'll be honest with you, it is not looking good for us people. I think Black people here, like, it ain't looking great. So you better be involved in this shit, because it ain't looking great for us. It's just not. But yeah, I think one of the impacted interviews was Matthew Green. I think he was a super insightful guy, super genuine person. He got really real with us, which we definitely we'll definitely want to make sure that we give shout out to him, and hopefully we'll have him again. And I mean, I want to speak. I would like to speak with more people like him, because he knows where he come from, and he definitely understands what his role is as a politician. So
Cool.
that we'll have that.
We should talk about some of our biggest like posts of the year, some of our biggest like we're not only a podcast, we are a social media channel as well. We are active on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We're getting more and more active on YouTube. Sorry, do you mind if I go in this direction?
Well, definitely the TikTok. We have to talk about that. Didn't we get like millions of views or something?
Yeah, millions of views on
3.2.
TikTok.
Yeah,
3.2 million views on TikTok throughout the year. 99.5% Hillary running that. It was amazing. I think it was up to about 9,000 followers right now.
Yeah, almost 10.
That's exploded. I don't have stats for that, but I did look up some of our biggest Facebook posts of the year, and really interestingly enough, our biggest Facebook post of the year was like a short meme or a quote, and I think you're the one that shared this, Fidel. It was a quote. It was a reminder. It said, "Women do not need to be polite to someone who is making them feel uncomfortable." And those simple words just exploded on our social media with 557 reactions, 49 comments, and over 50 shares. That was back in May of 2021. So that was a big post. The second one, which is fitting and really cool, was our congratulations post to Kasim Doumbia, who was New Brunswick's first ever Black elected mayor. So that post got 436 likes on our Facebook page. So that was a really big thing. We've yet to have him on the show. So mental note, we should really try to get him on for 2022 to see how that's going. No surprise here. One of our podcasts that got the most likes on Instagram was one with Drake's picture on it. It was the episode where we talked about Drake being named my internet connection is becoming unstable. Billboard's Artist of the Decade. The post that Hillary made about Truth and Reconciliation Day, sharing educational resources, I got 321 reactions. And then Hillary's post discussing about the PPC game gaining traction and stuff like that with extreme right wing political groups also got 307 reactions. So lots of big posts throughout the year, and there's other notable ones. The recent one of the murder case of Ahmad Arbery, his killer is becoming convicted, was another big one. And our number one post of the year that got the most reach, not necessarily the most likes, was trauma therapist out in Nova Scotia, Stacey Daku. When we posted about her and did an episode talking about Black trauma and Black issues and stuff like that, that post got a lot of reactions too.
Yeah, shout out to Stacy. We definitely should have her back again because I think mental health is something that we need to kind of get. Now, I will say this: did you know that the Fredericton march that happened? You know who organized it?
Nope.
Is it the right wing?
No, the PPC tantric guy that you were.
Shut up!
Obsessing
Yeah, he
over
was-
for, oh my goodness.
He was the one that organized it.
No,
Yeah,
you
he
don't
was the-
understand. As I said in my little summary of this year, I'm writing a play, and I'm writing a play. It's going to get, okay, a little trigger warning It's about some of my sexual trauma, and it's very cathartic. But every week we make a joke that what if in the middle of the play this guy would get referenced, and the answer to everyone's sexual trauma would be semen retention. And I make this joke every week with my dramaturge because I can't get over this news. And it's gotten to the point in the joke where we're like, what if we tricked him into thinking it was like an homage to him and he came to play? It's gone way too far, but I cannot believe, well, I can believe that someone racist who believes that their cum is the essence of the world would be like, yeah, anti-vaxxing, like forcing vaccination is the same as the Holocaust. I guess it's not that big of a reach, but good God, this guy.
What's your boy's name? Actually, we shouldn't mention it on the. Never mind.
I don't want to mention it. But
Let's not mention it. Never mind.
But I mean, but that was kind of funny. It was like, oh, this is the guy that organized the march. I'm like, oh,
that is really funny.
There we go. So check out that episode if you haven't checked out that episode, please do. I think it's one of our funniest episodes.
I was gonna list it as one of my favorite episodes. I think it's one of the ones where we were the most unhinged and the closest to like Black in the Maritimes After Dark. And I loved it. I thought that it was really funny. I thought it was great. And none of the adults in my life have knocked on my door to be like, I can't believe you said that. And so I think I got away with it.
That's a big win for you. That's a big win. Yes, you did. Your personal life was not ruined as a result of that one episode.
Wait. I always say, and I will say this with everybody, it's just a matter of time till in a few years. It's not going to be now, but in 10 years, something that we said in this podcast is going to come and bite us.
Oh, yeah, we're all in shit.
Yeah,
we're all in shit for this. If any of us ever like get huge, like we are all in shit. You know those posts and tweets, one tweet that could ruin someone's career from 20 years ago. Like we're donezo.
I am completely aware that one of these shit is gonna come, and they're gonna edit it, and they're gonna say he said this.
That's why I'm been very upfront. That's why I'm like, you can't get me if I am the one screaming about my addictions and my traumas at the top of my lungs. It is on my name tag. And so you can't get me for that. But you at this point, I think could get me for talking about semen retention a little too much. And so I'll stop now.
Yeah, but future prime minister of a female prime minister of Canada. You're gonna have some semen retention sound bites.
But I mean, I think that's the thing. Like, I think 2021 also gave us a little bit of what cancel culture is, and it and what it should be. Like, for technically, I seen that. I don't care in what aspect of your political aspect or your personal aspect. I think one thing is accountability, and one thing should be cancel culture. And I definitely feel that cancel culture is not a good thing. It's definitely not good for anybody because we've seen the effects of it and nothing really happens. Like nothing really happens. So if you look at like who people cancel, Kanye still here, Who else they try to cancel?
Dave
Chappelle,
Chappelle,
obviously.
the baby.
Dave
The
Chappelle, the
baby, the baby,
baby,
yeah.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump got deleted. Like he literally got deleted of the whole damn thing. Like he
In
didn't get
2021,
canceled.
cancel culture just gets you likes and attention and posts and gets your music played and your shows watched. It's go on.
Yeah, no, no. Like I said, like cancel culture got like I think we gotta take in retrospect that we as humans we should all disagree and agree to disagree. But just because you don't like something doesn't mean that you have to cancel it. Like, don't watch it, don't support it. That's your choice. That's cool. But don't be on a riot. Like I remember like when the mask thing happened, like people were like boycott Walmart. I'm like, what the fuck is boycotting Walmart? Nobody goes there because they love Walmart. We go there because it's cheap. Like nobody goes there.
Well,
So
a lot of the like anti-mask movements here or like riots here, they had a demonstration inside a Dollarama and inside a Tim Hortons. And I'm just like, how are these? Where's the correlation? But apparently last night, 2 nights ago, 12 people did show up at Doug Ford's house. So very concerning. But Doug Ford's daughter is also out there on social media saying, like, fuck the mandates. And it's like, well, it's your dad. But I digress. I don't understand boycotting businesses that are just following the policies. And that aspect of cancel culture makes no sense.
but I don't know. Go ahead, Quentin.
You sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think cancel culture is a little ridiculous as a phenomenon and a fad, but I do think that sometimes and this is this is from, we used to have a show called On Second Thought with Alon, and he made a really good point. I think sometimes as a culture, if you agree that something is not acceptable anymore because of how we've moved forward as a culture, towards equality and recognition and stuff like that, as a culture sometimes it's okay to agree to cancel things like uniformly, not in some kind of like rage or like in like Twitter mob fest, but there are things like there's a lot of movies from the 80s that, no, we're not going to like cancel those movies, but you have to agree that that cannot be a part of culture moving forward, like making those kinds of jokes or saying those kinds of things. So that's not cancel culture, but I'm just saying, well, cancel culture is a bit ridiculous. Sometimes as a culture,
But
we
I
do
think
have to cancel things.
no, but I think there's two things. There's accountability and there's cancellation. Like for
There
example,
yes.
when
Yeah.
you look at Me Too, Me Too wasn't trying to cancel anybody. They were trying to hold this man accountable for crimes. Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. These people committed crimes, legit crimes against women, and they needed to be held accountable for it. I am totally up for that. I'm totally up for accountability. And if social media is the way, better, right? That's there's accountability. And I think accountability, like we have to say that there's racist movies in the 50s and in the 60s, that hip hop is misogynistic in the 90s and the 2000s. Like, yes, let's all hold accountability and make sure that people are held accountable for those decisions, and they cannot turn it back. Real crimes, real crimes should be held accountable. But if you don't like what Cameron said in the 2000s, you can't take that back. I'm sorry, that was the era. You don't have to listen to it anymore, and you don't have to think that it's right. But unfortunately, that was the time. That was where, like, do we hate blackface? Of course we do. We all think it's bad. But can we change the movies in the 1920s? No, I wouldn't watch them. I would not encourage people to promote them. Of course not. Like, I would be like, definitely we need to hold people accountable. But can we change it? We did now, but not then. So it is what it is. But I think that's what we want to make sure that, like, cancel culture, what, like, for example, I think Doja Cat probably got canceled like 4 times in in 2021.
You can't cancel the queen of TikTok. She just
Like,
keeps coming back with another banger, and everyone's got to like make dances over the same 30 seconds. And they forget that she's apparently racist towards her own people. And I didn't care enough to ever look into it. So I don't even know.
and again, I think people tell, like, she's a 21-year-old girl, and she said it when she was like 17. Like it's crazy. Like
That's what I don't get. Like, again, I was saying, like, someone said something 20 years ago. I was making that joke, but can't these people just come out and say, like, I've learned, I've grown? And if obviously, if they've really grown, like, why are people's opinions from 20 years ago? It depends on what they say, but why are opinions from 20 years ago? I know, Hillary, I know what you're thinking. Like,
No, I was looking
people
up
have
Doja
to.
Cat's age. I was looking up her
Okay,
age because I was like,
okay.
there's no way she's 21. She's
But I mean, the
26.
goal of living is to grow, right? So I mean, when this stuff comes out, someone said something on, who was it? Who got canceled from doing the, was it the
I was gonna say this.
Grammys or
Kevin
the
Hart for
Kevin?
saying something
Yeah,
homophobic 10 years ago didn't get to host the Oscars. And I, someone who dabbles in queer culture sometimes, was like, that's dumb. You can't delete that tweet retroactively. All you can do is say, I don't hate gay
like, have
people
you
now.
grown? Yes, no, yes, you've grown. Okay, you
Yeah.
can do the show. Like, yeah, ask them, like, have you grown? Do you still feel this way? No, absolutely not. Okay, we cool.
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like for example, I'll bring this, which is very like it was very uh polarizing, and I didn't understand why it was polarizing. I'm like, to who? And this was the Justin Trudeau blackface thing. When he did the blackface, it was like what, 20 years after, right? And I was like, okay, so he did brown face and people felt offended, but I'm like, wait a minute. So is this like the other party that is equally as racist is gonna capitalize on this? Like what's the angle here? Like like well, we're gonna blame somebody that did something 20 years ago so we can vote to the other people that are even as bad as or racist. And then I'm like, I didn't check the angle of it, and we were like, people don't care because again, as much as is bad, it is a bad thing that he did that. But unfortunately, in that era, it wasn't, people didn't look at it in the same angle. It just wasn't the same angle. And is it bad? Of course it is, but now unfortunately we hope he grew better than that. But I didn't understand the angle from like, what is this, what the opposition got? Like, did you guys remember that you guys didn't want immigrants or people, and like you were trying to deport people and having second tier citizenship? With that shit's racist as fuck, and you're gonna say like, oh, he's racist. I'm like, but you're racist too. Like, but
I
anyways, go ahead.
I know we're not even done the episode yet, but I just want to say that I think the past few years have been like really wild and crazy. And I think that a lot of things have been torn apart, and I think they had to be. I hope in 2022, and this might be overly optimistic, I hope in 2022 we can all kind of like smarten up a bit and like calm down and relax and mature and see how we can grow from all. Sometimes to fix things, you got to tear them to pieces. And I hope that society can start to be like, okay, how do we want to be in the future? How do we want to evolve as humans? Like, everything we're saying is just like, shit's been torn to pieces. I hope the internet matures. I hope people mature on the internet. That's my.
I'll just say really quickly that looking back now, not enough people made the joke. If you want a brown guy with a turban, just elect Jagmeet Singh. Where were those jokes instead of just letting Justin Trudeau be depicted as racist? I feel like there was a marketing opportunity there that
Yeah,
everyone
I
ignored.
wish I had a DeLorean. That would be like.
It included Jasmine Singh, including
Yeah.
him.
He's the
And I want to
TikTok
say
king.
you gave Justin Trudeau credit for the CERB, but I think we got to give a nod to Jagmeet Singh, because Justin Trudeau wanted to give a lot less. What he wanted to give like next to nothing. Jagmeet Singh came out and he was like, no, you got to support these people. And I
Yeah.
think that was part of the turning point that made Justin Trudeau smart enough and actually say, yeah, okay, I'm gonna give some more. Is that not correct? Am I like,
I believe
I don't
Well,
think
correct.
Justin Trudeau gets full credit for that. I know
well,
he was the man in power, but
again, I don't think like when you look at Canadian government, you can't give it credit to Justin Trudeau at all because it's a bipartisan. Like he's just the leader of the Liberals, but it has to be done to Parliament. But yeah, I do agree that not Jasmine Singh should have, and everybody in Parliament, because it took consensus to do it. Unfortunately, because Justin Trudeau had the majority at that point, or had minority government, but he needed consensus from the NDP
yep.
and the Bloc Québécois. Definitely. So yeah, he definitely fits into that. And also with the Black program, again, I think with the Black funding program, if we go into that sense, of course, the NDP and even the Bloc Québécois, which is not the best party around, but even they deserve a little bit of handout for that. So
I was about to say something that was definitely going to get me in trouble in 20 years from now. So I ain't gonna say it.
so yeah,
I got trouble at a Christmas party recently about my opinions about the Quebecois, so I will abstain from speaking.
Yeah. This is not Quebec, like Black in Quebec. So definitely there's like
We wouldn't be allowed to have this podcast.
Oh, there's no. I think there is. There's a couple of podcasts, but they're in French. And I think at one point, you guys weren't in the podcast at that point. But I think some guys from Quebec. There's a lot of podcasts about being like like Black Quebecers and even natives in different lands that they talk about their issues. And they definitely some of them have reached out to us over the years, and I think definitely they're quite important. But yeah, Quebec is a different type of animal, so we're never ever going to discuss anything Quebec unless it's like national news, because it's like shit there is wild, like the hijab thing, anything. Anyways,
that's what I was talking about at dinner that got me in trouble.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that.
Like it's just crazy.